Hi, welcome to the Crazy Blessed Show. Let me ask you a question. Can you have it all? No, I'm serious. Like, can you have it all? Well, what if you could? What if there's actually an empire in you that you can build, but you just don't know how? Well, honey, you need to lean in, perk up, listen closely, get rid of all the distractions, because I've got Elena Cardone talk with me today about how to build your empire. Woo! I know it's going to go deep. So, baby, you are going to be blessed like crazy. Elena, I'm so excited to be talking with you today, my friend.
Woo! I am excited too. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely. I got to tell you, though, your book, Build an Empire, How to Have It All. I remember as soon as you came out with the audio version, I put that on in my car and I looked like that, fool who's going down the road, who's like, yes, ma'am, let's go. All right. Because you are speaking my language about having it all. Like, what inspired you to write that?
Well, the experiences that I had been through and where I had evolved to, I figured at that point, I had figured enough things out right. I was doing enough things right. And we had created enough of an empire at that point where I was inspired to put it out for other people who were interested in, hey, what are the secrets? What are the systems that people use to get there? I remember back when Grant and I were trying to figure it out, there was no social media. There wasn't really anyone that was this sort of woman behind the scenes that was divulging this information. So I feel like if I would have had that, I could have fast-tracked my way to success. So that's what inspired me, is I wanted to fast-track other people's way of success. I want to crunch your time down from attainment into a shorter period of time than it took me.
Absolutely. And it's beautiful what you're doing. I mean, you're leading 10X Ladies, Operation 10X Badass. You're there working side by side. You're doing so many things to help so many people. And I believe, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but your passion is really seeing women understand what they're capable of doing and operating in that capacity.
1,000,000%. That's become my legacy play. That's become my purpose in life, is I really want to empower women to own their power. Power is the capacity or the ability to influence the behavior of others. So first, if they can empower themselves, influence their behavior, make changes and live up to their full potential, then they're going to be more inclined to then want to go home to their spouses, partners, children, community, and inspire them to achieve their goals and their dreams, and I believe that it's going to be the women that could change the trajectory of where this planet is headed because of the power that we possess and the ability and the capacity to influence the behavior of others.
Absolutely. Women are such strong influencer. And the only thing that I see, Elena, and seriously, like, tell me if I'm off track here, is women don't understand how much of an influence they have on their families, on their spouses, on, the people that they're working with. I mean, with 7 kids, running a family, like, I get it. Like, the power that I have to influence. And here you are with your amazing, incredible daughters and your husband, Grant. And so when women understand who they really are with the influence they have, maybe they can now leverage that and use it in a positive way to change their entire family dynamic, not just here and now, but for their future to come.
1,000,000%. That's what everything I do drives that purpose line.
Yeah. I got to tell you, when I heard you speak at the 10X conference, 2019, I believe it's 2019. And what you talked about, I just wanted to hug you, because it's like, yes, here's someone who is vocalizing what could be basically fodder for people to come against you. Like, I know you've been under attack by a lot of the feminist community of like, no, like, you don't need to be a support for your husband. But here you are speaking at the conference about how powerful that role is to be a support. It does not diminish you to step up and be a powerful influence and support for your spouse.
Yeah, it's interesting because I battled with this internally for myself, first and foremost, which was I was raised. I mean, this was embedded into my very core to be a very strong, independent, powerful woman, never depend on a man for anything. That was indoctrinated into my soul. I never thought I would, be married. It wasn't until I was 30 till I finally tapped out and agreed to a Mary grant.
But I think he did put a lot of pressure on, right? He's a good influencer as well. Like
he earned the spot. I'm telling
he did.
He did. But going back to this, I was under the influence that I had to never depend on a man for anything and do it all myself. Now, out of my experiences, I can't argue or tell any other woman how to feel, be, or even their reaction to me. I can only speak my truth. And my truth now is I, in hindsight, as I've gone through life, right? I'm almost 50. I looked at it and I said, wow, here I was thinking I had to do everything myself and or somehow it wasn't credible, or I was going to be letting women down across the world if I supported my man. Well, now I had to confront that issue. In 2008, I decided to do just that. I traded in my career to support a man. Yeah. So I internally battled having women come after and attack me. But out of that is like, look, I looked up the definition of the word support. It means to show active interest in the success of. Well, I'm guilty. I show active interest in my husband's success. I also show active interest in the success of me. Another definition of support means to bear the weight of. It means to be strong enough to bear the weight of the thing that you're bearing the weight of. So I look at it now and, okay, so if I'm supporting my husband, wouldn't I actually have to be stronger than the thing I'm actually supporting? And how strong and who do I have to become to be that? So I don't apologize now for being a support. I don't apologize for being the strength and the foundation of our family. Like that to me is something I'm very proud of. I do both. I do business and I do family and a support role to my husband. I got to tell you, the support role that I do with my husband is far more extraneous and difficult to me than the business world. It just is. So I refuse to apologize for that. Now, the sick irony in the whole thing is that I found, again, my truth, my strength and power as a woman, my independence, my fierceness. I found my true power as a woman through the experiences that I've gone through with a man. It's a sick irony. I didn't want it to be that way, but it's the truth. And now I look in hindsight and how I was indoctrinated to never depend on a man, never depend on anyone. It's insanity to me because you can only go so high on your own, right? The purpose of a partnership with anyone, a colleague, your children, your husband, spouse, whomever, is the highest that I can go, and I can only do so much. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. When I cap out at my max, the people in my life around me are there to push me to a heightened level of success. And so that is the purpose of our partnership with my husband, and my relationship with him is to help me go to the heightened levels and me help him to the heightened levels. And that's where I sit today. Like, to me, trying to do it all by myself, I could never get to heightened levels. I just couldn't. You tap out. Like, it's irrefutable. There's never been an empire in the history of the creation of this world that's ever been built by one person alone. You can't show it to me.
That's so powerful. That I just want to make sure everyone got that. Like, the supporting mechanism has got to be more powerful than the thing it supports. Like, I think what you're touching on, Elena, is so powerful because I know every single woman, and I think this benefits men and women who are listening and watching right now, is that idea of like, we can come to the end of ourselves, like we can tap out. However, if we know that we are operating in collaboration and we are a support for other people, I know as well as you do we will do more for other people than often we'll do for ourselves. Like something in us rises up, especially when it comes to your kids and your husband, like, okay, I'm at the end of myself, but now something rises up and says, no, I'm doing this for you now. We're doing this together. Like there's so much power in unity. And I believe when women get a hold of that, when they read your book, they get a hold of what you're talking about, this concept of collaboration and unity. Now it's actually extraordinarily empowering. It's not diminishing. It does the opposite.
Completely. That's what I found as my experience. It's extremely empowering. It's the power of two. I could tell you briefly about my favorite story, the Clydesdales. I might have said it in 2019. Do you remember that story?
I do, but I want you to share it. It's so good.
Well, the thing that I love about it, how you said it's so powerful, it's because the Clydesdale, the worker horse, the Budweiser horse can pull
Right.
8,000 pounds alone. 8,000 pounds, that's a lot. Can't pull more than that. It's never happened in the history. That's the cap. But two of them together, side by side, harnessed up, can pull 32,000 pounds. So that's 3 times what they can do on their own. So that is the power. But now here's the good part. Those same 2 horses that are harnessed up side by side pulling, if you train them to work in a coordinated effort with each other, now they can pull 42,000 pounds.
Whoa.
So do you see the magnitude? And that's what I'm saying. That's just horses. So, Grant and I, like, figuring all this out for the past, we've been married now 18 years, together for 20, but figuring out, how do we work in collaboration together? How do we figure out who we are as a couple? What are our couples goals? How do we achieve goals together? Of course, I'm always going to have my individual goals, and he's going to have his individual goals. And again, I believe the greatest act of love is helping somebody achieve their goals and their dreams. So I have my individual, but also the couple's goals, right? Like, when we figure out what we're going for together, we know our target, then we delegate who does what in the relationship, knowing our roles based on strengths and weaknesses, not male, female, but who does what, who gets to be the boss of what department, and then trust each other to run those divisions. So we've figured out this whole sort of mechanism and system. We've been 2, for lack of a better word, trained horses working in a coordinated effort. And you can see now why, after we've hit, now we're in a multi-billion-dollar successful business, the marriage, the kids, we're all thriving. Not that we don't have struggles or challenges, but overall, you look at the trend of us and our conditions, we're in power, we're in thriving and expansion.
That is so perfectly in line. What you said about Clydesdale, what you said about like training them to operate in unity, is exactly what the Bible says when it says 1 can chase 1,000, 2 can put 10,000 to flight. Like,
ooh, that gives me chills.
Ooh, yeah, that's just, God understands this concept about collaboration and working together and how powerful that is. And I feel like a lot of what you're doing today, you're not just empowering people, but you're also helping people work in coordination. Like you're training the Clydesdales to work in coordination. Like, what do you do when someone comes to you? Because you're helping a lot of women today. It's amazing what you're doing. And when women say, I just don't feel unified, like I don't want to grow beyond my spouse, or maybe he's not performing his role and I don't know what my role is, and kind of that I don't know, almost like the lack of unity. What would you say about that? If someone's feeling like listening today and they're like, Elena, I love what you have. It seems like it works so well for you. I don't know how to put that to work in my life.
Right. And this is going to sound like a plug, and I'll give some tips afterwards, but November 4th and 5th, I do build an Empire Mastermind specifically on relationships. It's a 2-day workshop. It's a workbook about this thick. I ask you certain questions. I put you on a path of actually being put on the same page with your partner to go through the exact steps that Grant and I have done, continue to do, and will do in the future. But I mean, it comes with a lot of things. It becomes with knowing your couple's goals. It becomes with figuring out who gets to be in the empire and who doesn't. And based on why are they relevant? Why do you have these relationships in your life? Just because they've always existed? How do they contribute? How do they get you to elevate to your new purpose, to your heightened level of success? Who's an asset and who's a liability? It's about getting on the same page with all these things. It's figuring out who does the roles and what is the purpose of that. It's about in the relationship coming up with agreements. Like, we don't all have to be like the Grant Cardone, who's out there hustling and pushing. And a lot of people come to me because they're confused. My spouse doesn't do that. I'm like, well, do you need two of you? Like, why do you need them to be you? Aren't you doing that? Like, figure out what they do and let them run that to help y'all both go there. Like, some people just have ideas of what they think their partner is supposed to do or look like, and they get confused. So I straighten all of that out, or you actually straighten it out by going through the workbook and through the mastermind. But it involves numerous successful actions. Grant and I had weekly meetings every single week. How do you need help? How can we do this better? It wasn't a make wrong session or, a berating session. It was like, look, you really got to accept the fact that y'all are on the same team now and you're fortified as one. How do we have these weekly meetings to assist each other in getting and helping each other reach their goals, instead of make wrong? It's so there's so many components about it that are going to help the person get on the same page and get motivated and needs and wants. Like, have you ever done a needs and wants list? What do you need and want from your partner? And show it to them and actually go over the list with your partner. Are you willing to produce blah, 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 and blah? And if not, negotiate it. Come up with agreements where you can say, okay, I agree to this. Now the person knows. It's not assuming, it's not guesswork. It's not letting down those expectations. They actually have a piece of paper that says, I want you to, cook a meal for me. It could be something as stupid as that. Do you agree to that? Do you not agree to that? Yes. If you do all the work, I'll put food in front of your plate and face, and then you can eat. Or kids, are we having kids? Are we not having kids? Who's going to raise them? Who's going to be in charge? Like, write your wants and needs list, because especially in the very beginning, you might find that you're with a person that doesn't have the same purpose lines as you. And you might just have to know that going forward, that this is not a workable relationship, or it is.
Yeah. Now, this mastermind you're having, I just want to share something about this for the people who are watching or listening, because I want to be there. Absolutely. And here's why. I totally believe if you don't exercise your right to get coaching, you forfeit your right to complain. Because if you're going to complain about your life, it just means you're unwilling to get the direction and the wisdom. Again, the Bible says this, first step is this, get wisdom. So I always want to get wisdom. Now, here's this couple, you and Grant, running a multi-billion-dollar empire, raising successful children. Why would I not? And this is what I'm asking people who are watching or listening. Why would I not want to spend a weekend tapping into wisdom that could shortcut the process? Do I really want to figure this out on my own?
Exactly. Like this is what I went through. Like, I had to figure it out on my own, and I could have shortened the process.
Yeah.
Like, even that last question, it's like, for the gal who's like, I don't feel like I'm not getting the participation or this or that. There's something, either, the purpose isn't completely aligned, or that person isn't really ready to take full responsibility for the relationship and the creation. Like, these are creations. My relationship isn't, I am not just an effect of, oh, this just happened to me. This is a created relationship. So when you create it, I have to be willing to have all the great things. And I also have to take somewhat responsibility for the bad or the negative things that happen as well. Do you know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
have to look at what I'm doing that are creating the negative effects, how I can change it, reposition it. It's about your creation. These are your products. If your relationships are not on the same page, if they are not thriving, these are your products. This is not happening to you. It's happening. Why? Because of you. So it behooves you to come in and want to listen and look and answer these questions and go through this workbook so you can really leave there going, you know what? I now have an awareness level to actually change the trajectory and create the picture and design the life that I want to have and actually have it manifest. Or I'm going to pretend not to know this now so I can still have my old, messed up life. It's your choice.
Like, do you want the old messed up life? If you want the old messed up life, you just camp out there. That's fine. But if you want a transformation, if you want to build an empire, I believe we can't change anything that we refuse to take responsibility for.
Yeah.
Like that has got to be the first step, coming to like where you can look in the mirror and say, I can take ownership of this, and now I can move beyond it.
And that's what I love so much about and men too, but I'm partial to women, of course, I guess, because I am one.
Because we are.
Why I think women are so valuable and so powerful. It's because we do have the strength to not only get ourselves to a place of where we can be the best that we can be, but in addition to that, we can also support the people in our lives without shame and without humiliation or being made wrong or invalidated for that. Because for us to be able to have the capacity to do all of that and only do the one little thing, which is us, is, I kind of believe, a transgression to the planet. Because if you can support yourself and your husband and your children, because we do have that capacity, because we are strong enough, we are the support beams, then to not fully be all of that and help other people be better and continue that life continuum, it's that is diminishing of you and your power to not have it all.
It is because when you think about it, as soon as we start living outside of fear, we live a life without limits. And the more we stretch our capacity, the more we realize, you tell me if you agree with this, that we are actually unlimited, like all the limits that we think we are living by right now. I guarantee you, when you start working at stretching your mind, and just like you said, setting the goals, working in collaboration, moving toward it, you're going to realize, wait a minute, we actually can go a lot further. We actually can go a lot faster, but it's imperative that you have the right people with you. This is one thing you talk about, and I want to touch on this before we go, because this is so important, is as a mom, as a businesswoman, as a wife, you need to be a bulldog about protecting your empire. You have to know who to bring in and who to kick out. And I just think that's something you are passionate about. I see that is you're the guard too. I think women need to know this.
That happens to be one of my strengths. And when we were kind of delegating who does what in the relationship, like, I just know I am a bulldog and I am fiercely protective of my family. And rightfully so. I've just made a decision of who I have become, who I want to become in the future. And, it's highly ethical. And I just refuse to have people around me that don't have those same standards, because it weakens me to have those people around me. I can't have liabilities around our family. There's too many people that depend on us, our investors, our staff, the community, the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish in this lifetime. So I don't allow liabilities to be in my inner circle, no matter who they are. Like, even if they're family members that I can't really boot out, I can boot them to the next level out. There's different layers. There's ways of protecting yourself and your bubble. And And I just, for me, I don't care who judges me on that. It's just detrimental. I can't have accidents around me. I can't have cheaters. I can't have liabilities.
No, that's not even an option at that level, not even an option. And I think at any level, we need to know that we are protecting our empire. We're building an empire. We need to protect the empire. And I think a lot of times women feel like we need to make everyone happy, but that's not really why we're here. We're here to create empire, to get all of the blessing in us out into the world and make an impact. And so do you find that women sometimes it's hard to let go of that desire that I need to keep everyone happy?
Yeah, I think until they come up with discovering their true purpose, when you really lock in on your purpose, it really starts to make other things clear. What activities you're going to participate in. Is this contributing to that purpose line or distracting from it? I say you're creating or destroying your empire with every decision. So at some point I look at what is the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Like sometimes me being with or making a decision to make just a few people around me happy, or how am I going to look or whatever, that's not the greatest decision. Because if I do that and don't, let's just take an example, like, having to cancel on an event because of another event where you could actually, maybe like a conference or a seminar or something where you can really be impactful, but you have to cancel on maybe going out to a Mother's Day with your mom that you had planned. I look at oftentimes the greatest good, like what is the purpose line? And that actually gets me to actually impacting more people can actually benefit if I'm doing my job and influencing them in the right way. So sometimes I might have to make a difficult decision and go cancel on my mother and tell her why and how I'm going to make it up, how I'm going to make up the damage. And that, allowing her to understand that this is my mission in life. And this is the sacrifices that we all have to make for, this in supporting, showing active interest in showing support to me. And then I would also have to look at how I can support her and as well to make these things okay. But yes, like I look at what is the overall greatest good in the activity.
And that's part of just taking ownership. Like sometimes it means making hard decisions, but we always rise to the occasion because we are powerful women and we take responsibility. So I want to ask you one more question. And it's a woman is listening right now and she's like, Elena, it just sounds like you're making it feel doable for me. Like maybe I have an empire in me that I could build. Maybe I could bring something of what's in me, my talents, my capabilities, what I have in me out to the world. What would you tell them the first step is they should take?
Well, very well done on knowing then and having the realization that that is in you, because that is in you.
Amen.
And the more that you can let that out and discover it and cultivate it, the more that you're actually allowing somebody like me to benefit from you, from your goods, your products, your services, and to continue to stay small and not thinking that you have anything of worth is really, it's a transgression against me and mankind. So what I would tell them is it's absolutely inside of you. Get around people who can help bring that out in you, who lead you away from your weaknesses and don't attack your strengths. For the person that is to that level that doesn't think that they have enough going on, the first thing I would say is you are already around people and have been around the wrong people, because these people are attacking your strengths. That's what they do to introvert you. That's the number one thing. That's one of the biggest red flags I look for in people. And again, it's a trend. It's not a one-time offense where somebody said something that is offensive. But if I was you, write out what your strengths and weaknesses are. Like, what are your strengths? Like, if you're a good mom, I mean, and you know that, you know, you're not perfect, but you know, you're a good mom, or you know that, you know, you're a good homemaker, or whatever it is that you are. That's going to be the thing that someone's going to attack you on. They're going to be like, oh, you're a good mom when you're being a mom, or, wow, you know, that's all you do is stay at home. And what is, you know, they make you feel bad about that. They attack your strengths. So get around people who actually understand and value your strengths and deter you from your weaknesses. If your weaknesses are drinking, then avoid the people that are going to attack your strengths and then be handing you a glass of wine at the same time, because they want to keep you small. These people don't want you to help other people. These people don't want you to be powerful, because if you become powerful, these people think that they somehow are less than. They have no products, by the way. These people that are doing this to you, they have no products. Their product is to keep you on the same level or below them. That is their mission. That is their only product. So, you know, look around in your life and see who is attacking your strengths and feeding your weaknesses, and eliminate or push them to the outer rings and start focusing on how can you improve your strengths? How can you even get stronger? And that'd be the first thing.
Oh, wow. That is incredible. Elena, you are such a blessing to so many people. And thank you for not just inspiring people, but also setting an example in your life of how to follow suit. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. What a great conversation. Thank you.
Oh, this was incredible. I'm telling you guys, when you know you have an empire in you and you build it, you are going to be blessed like crazy.